Hey guys, Tyler here. In addition to phasers, transporters, and warp drives, another iconic piece of technology in Star Trek is the deflector shield, a type of force field that surrounds a spacecraft, space station, ground installation, or even an entire planet. These barriers are naturally meant to protect against enemy attacks or other threats. They may seem like a rather fantastical technology at first sight, but the seeds for deflector shields and similar technologies arguably exist today. In this video, I'll explore the science behind Star Trek shields and attempt to answer the question, could we build something like them in real life? Let's find out. As I just alluded to, an analysis of deflector shields is really a video about force fields. Currently, as you might expect, force fields are not real. There's just no way that we've figured out to control the particle density of such an energy barrier. Indeed, as late as 2152 in Enterprise, Starfleet has only been researching force fields for half a decade. Thus, any use of force fields in Enterprise by humans is rather experimental. Of course, this does lead to the question, without proper shields, how does the NX-01 protect itself from weapons fire or even just deflect debris when it's flying through space? Well, the answer is two-pronged. To protect herself, the NX-01 uses a combination of two technologies, the deflector dish and hull plating. Hull plating, as you can probably imagine, is an external armor on a ship or shuttle's hull that is electrically conductive. In the 22nd century, Starfleet ships can polarize their hull plating to increase its strength in emergency situations. And even in later centuries, some escorts are still equipped with ablative hull plating for increased survivability when their shields are lost or significantly weakened. The navigational deflector system, on the other hand, is a different story altogether. Effectively, a localized antenna, a ship's deflector shield, repels debris, asteroids, microscopic particles, and really anything else that could collide with the ship while it's traveling through space. These deflectors are indispensable, especially at warp speed, as even the most minute particles, even some rarefied gases, could seriously damage the ship at superluminal velocities. The navigational deflector consists of two integrated subsystems. One is a layered set of several undeviating low-level force fields, projected out of a spacecraft to deflect so-called submicron particles in the interstellar medium. The other is an active deflector beam, essentially a tractor beam in reverse, that works in conjunction with the ship's long-range sensors to steer it should the need arise, to remove larger objects from the ship's flight path. Once again, in the case of the 22nd century Enterprise, we see that force field and tractor beam technologies are still in their infancy. It's only upon cooperation with the Andorian Imperial Guard that the NX-01 starts to upgrade its shielding to cover the entire hull. But even prior to this, the external hardware is already there. In addition to the navigational deflector system, shield energies can be, and are, also emitted from a projector grid network laid out across a ship's hull. When shields are up, or highly energized, most incoming matter or energy can be harmlessly deflected away. Thus, only minor hull damage can be expected during combat. Continuous or extremely powerful energy discharges can, however, progressively dissipate a shield's integrity to the point of failure. Shield capacities vary according to many variables, from available power to environmental conditions outside the ship. Thus, precise calculations of how much damage they can take are hard to estimate. Some sections of a shield grid can also take more damage than others, and be reinforced with additional power reserves, allowing tactical officers to report on shield strength by section if need be. The most advanced tactical deflector systems even incorporate a regenerative function, where a portion of the foreign energy imparted to the shield is appropriated and channeled into the shield grid so as to contribute to restoration of the shield's integrity. This makes such sophisticated shields more resilient to weapons fire, among other things. Shields operate within a range of frequencies that allow matter or energy to pass through, or to increase effectiveness of blocking them. Because the these frequencies are usually not discernible without examining controls aboard a starship, it can be difficult to tune weapons to match shields' frequencies in order to bypass them. Transporters are normally not able to penetrate shields, including of their own starships, though some post-Wolf 359 ship classes, such as the Intrepid class, can bypass their own raised shields. Otherwise, lowering shields over particular portions of a starship, in addition to saving power, can provide a window to transport through, or exit through the cargo bay. Shields can even be extended to encompass another vessel that cannot use its own shields, or has weaker shields. This is accomplished by matching both ships' emitter frequencies. However, this technique does put a strain on the ship's systems. Additionally, the overall strength of extended shields is generally not as strong as two shield systems working independently. The average YouTube viewer, impressionable, innocent, blissfully unaware that their life could fundamentally change at any moment. But while we don't have all the answers, we are, however, aware of one thing: the cause. OrangeRiver merch. Many have fallen victim to the alluring effects of t-shirts, backpacks, hoodies, even ceramic coffee mugs, all of which can be purchased from the privacy of your own home at the click of a mouse. Now you might be thinking, I can just buy one item from the link in the video description. But let me ask you this. Can you be so sure? You begin with Star Trek, and then you venture down the path of other sci-fi franchises, Mass Effect, Metroid, and whatever else the future may hold. But while we may never know the full extent of this modern merch mania, we do know one thing: don't buy OrangeRiver merch, or you might find yourself in the Twilight Zone. Even today, some scientists and science communicators, such as physicist Michio Kaku, envision how we could build a force field. In order to implement force fields for military or other uses, a number of other unique technologies will need to coalesce in just the right fashion. This tech would be stacked together in layers to provide an instant, near impenetrable field, and withstand hits from all but the most powerful weapons. The outer layer would consist of a supercharged plasma window that is shaped into a dome or sphere by electromagnetic fields. This plasma barrier would be hot enough to vaporize most incoming metals. A second layer underneath would contain millions of curved laser beams that produce a high-energy web that can capture projectiles fast or powerful enough to penetrate the plasma barrier. A third layer consisting of a lattice made from trillions of carbon nanotubes, woven together near instantaneously to form a hard diamond-like shell, would repel objects missed by the other two layers. Such force fields could be extended to cover a larger perimeter, though at the cost of decreased strength. On the other hand, it could be reduced in size to create an even denser, more durable barrier. While these three layers working in unison can protect against most bullets, bombs, and other projectiles, they would be almost useless against lasers. This is where a fourth and final layer comes in. It would use photochromatic particles whose properties change when exposed to laser light, effectively neutralizing most directed energy weapons. This technology effectively works on the same principle as transition lenses in eyeglasses and sunglasses. Photochromatic surfaces absorb electromagnetic radiation through photoisomerization, a reversible process that involves isomers, or molecular ions, which undergo a color transformation. In addition to war zones, such multi-layered force fields could protect national borders, sources of food and water production, corporate spaces, luxury dwellings, satellites, and more. And of course, Star Trek makes widespread use of these deflectors. Hopefully this video served as an effective overview of how shields work in Star Trek. Indeed, many of the same principles, and I know I keep using that phrase, are involved in the operation of other sci-fi technologies, such as phasers, lightsabers, and even Mass Effect's Omni-Tool. All of these devices using a series of focused lasers, superheated plasma, and electromagnetic fields to create a particle barrier or stream is certainly a fascinating concept, and in my opinion, it makes you think about just how feasible some of these technologies could be as we continue to master engineering on smaller scales, to perfect thermal management and miniaturizing power sources. All of this is probably still a century or more away though, but if Michio Kaku thinks we could do it, who am I to argue? Okay, appeal to authority, but you know, one can dream. In the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a thumbs up down below and don't forget to share it. That stuff really helps me out. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to do that as well so you won't miss future uploads, and click the bell icon to receive all notifications. If you want to support my work even further, becoming a patron or a member is a great way to do so. Links to those, as well as my social media and merch store, are in the description. That's all I have for this week. Live long and prosper.